Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Pink Subconscious. My name is Bria, and in today's video, I will be concluding the archetypes, the Mother Wound Archetypes. So, this is part 2 and the final part of this video. If you have not seen the first part, I will link it down below, but it's literally the video right before this one. So, in this video, as you can see, I will be covering the high achieving daughter or the overachiever, the self-dimming daughter, and lastly, the detached daughter. And I wanted to go ahead and conclude this series because there are different types of women who are produced under mothers who, are not that great or just, not really good at their job. But I decided to kind of just condense them down so that this series wouldn't be too long. So if you see some similarities between the archetypes, that is why, but at their core, they're not the same. Their wounds are not the same, and their beliefs are not the same. So with that being said, like I said in my last video, I am not a therapist. I am not a psychologist. I simply am a person who likes to pay attention to patterns, and I speak about my observations that I have noticed over the years with me working with women, as well as me being a woman myself. So let's get into the video. Okay, so let's start with the high achieving daughter. This daughter most likely had a mother who was a perfectionist. She did not accept anything below average from her daughter. She was very much hard on her. This daughter probably was not allowed to come home with any C's on her report card, or probably not even any B's. And even if it was a high B, like even if it was like an 89 or an 88, she still was, not really praised as much as she should have been. This mother was so big on how she was seen and also how her daughter was seen, because she believed that her daughter is 100% a reflection of her. Her belief was more so in a more unhealthy way. So she wanted everyone to know just how great her daughter was, and she never wanted anybody to know of her daughter's mistakes or like mess ups or, wrongdoing. So this, of course, produced a daughter who is very hard on herself and does not want to accept anything less than perfection. She doesn't want to accept anything less than 100%, anything that's less than her being her 100% best self. This mother could have appeared to be a great mother to everyone else on the outside because of the daughter she produced. So let's just say, like, she could have given birth to a daughter who, won a lot of awards as a kid, in middle school and high school, just as a teenager. She probably, joined a lot of different teams. She was probably, top 10% or number one in her class. God forbid if she was like valedictorian. Everybody praised his mother for how she may have raised his daughter. So on the outside looking in, everybody really, really praised her because her daughter was such a high achiever. However, this mother is usually very, very hard to please and can even lean a bit narcissistic because she is not able to see the human in her daughter and see that her daughter is just like a regular person who needs love, who needs nurturing, who needs her to be emotionally available and there for her. She only sees her daughter as a product of her and as something that is only a reflection of her. Simply meaning, she may see her daughter as like, okay, I really don't care about your tears. I don't care that you are tired. You need to get this routine right. So I don't care if we've been practicing for 16 hours, 17 hours. You're not going to bed until you get this routine right from top to bottom. She just was not the most nurturing person, probably not a maternal bone in her body. And she definitely was not emotionally available. She definitely only acknowledged her daughter when she was doing good. And even then, when her daughter was doing very good, she always found something to critique. So with that being said, with having this type of mother, this daughter learned very early on that her value only lies in her accomplishments. So she's almost always thinking about what to do next, what to accomplish next, what to start next. This daughter may only believe in being productive. Rest is like foreign to her. She doesn't know what rest is. She doesn't know what it means to relax, what it means to take a breather, what it means to, go on vacation and actually enjoy the vacation. She's always thinking, what's the next step? What's the next step? Which is not a healthy way of thinking. Everybody needs time off. Everybody needs to rest. Everybody needs a breather. However, the high achieving daughter does not know. She does not know how to rest. She only knows function and production. That's it. So even with her accomplishing the things that she's accomplished, let's just say, she has a bachelor's degree, master's degree, doctorate, whatever. Let's just say, she's opened up her own, business or multiple businesses. Let's say she has her own practice. Let's say this daughter has really accomplished a lot of really great things on her own. She doesn't even give herself a pat on the back. She doesn't even know how to celebrate herself. Like, even when people celebrate her, she may still say things like, oh, well, this could have been a bit, like, thank you guys, but this could have been a bit better, or I really wanted this to happen a bit sooner, and things like that. She just doesn't know how to just accept good praise and accept the gifts and the rewards, because she hears her mother's voice in the back of her mind constantly finding something to critique. So she now critiques herself with any and everything that she does. So a lot of the times with this daughter, on the outside looking in, on the outside looking in, everybody thinks she has it all together. Everybody thinks that she has it all together. Everybody thinks that she has it all figured out. She has all the answers. She's probably, if she has siblings, she's probably like the responsible one. She's the one who everybody comes to fix everything. She probably is the one, like, when there is a family breakdown, maybe an argument, maybe people are just not getting along, she's the one who's reaching out to be the mediator to get everybody on one accord. If there is like a family vacation, she's the one putting together the itinerary. Like, she's the one like organizing everything. These women, these daughters tend to be very organized on the surface, but mentally and emotionally, they are scattered. Like I said, she may dress really, really well. She may put herself together really well. She may have a lot of accolades that make her seem like she is, almost perfection, because that's what she aims for. But on the inside, there is a lot going on. And unfortunately, at times, she may not know how to deal with those things. So she keeps herself productive, because in dealing with that, she has to acknowledge how out of order her internal life is and how out of order her thoughts are. And she doesn't know anything but order. She doesn't know anything but organization. She doesn't know anything but perfection. So when she has to sit down and actually have a moment to herself to say, okay, I am literally a mess, my life is in shambles, she can't even imagine it. She doesn't want to sit down and feel that moment. So that's why she's always on go. She may have heard, like, growing up, she may have been told that she was very mature for her age. She may have even been told that she's the daughter nobody has to worry about. I know I heard that all the time growing up. And it didn't make me feel good, because, to parents saying to their child, oh, I know I don't have to worry about you, they think that means they did such a great job, that this child doesn't need for anything. But she's a child. She needs to be heard. She needs to be seen. She needs to be cared for. She needs to be nurtured. She needs to be treated like a child, not treated like an adult. But because people look at her like she's so mature for her age, they don't even see her as a child anymore. Even if she's just a teenager, even if she's simply 15, 14, 16, they look at her like she's already, old enough to buy a drink, old enough to travel, like she's old enough to have her own place. And it's frustrating, because sometimes these girls are often born to emotionally immature parents, and while she is having to mature, she's also having to mother herself and also mother her parents and her siblings, because her parents are just not equipped to do it. So yes, everybody that she deals with, especially at work, especially her friends, if she's not very open about her emotions, which normally the high achiever is not that open about their emotions because they're so big on perfection, unless they are with around someone who they feel very safe with, or unless they have done the work to become safe within themselves. Everybody around her just sees her as this very strong individual who doesn't need anybody's help, doesn't want for anything, just, anything can come her way and she can handle it. She may be very like hyper independent, because sometimes these women think that because they have been led to believe that they are not to be worried about, and very mature for their age, it's almost like they wear that as a badge of honor. And so they get to a point in their lives where they don't want to ask for help because they don't want to be a burden. And they also don't want to be seen as like, sometimes we have those moments where we have been taking care of ourselves for months straight. It can be 10 months go by and we have paid every bill, taken care of every little thing. But as soon as we ask for a little bit of help, people act like it's the end of the world, and they can't believe that the high achieving daughter is asking for assistance, is asking for help, because she never gets tired, she never gets worn out, she never needs time off. So why is she needing it now? It's almost like they make it a big deal. If you are a high achieving daughter, I'm sure you can relate to this, but I'm sure your other siblings can ask your parents for help over and over again, time and time again. But as soon as you let it be known that you just need a moment to vent, or you just need a moment, to just let it all out, they make it seem like this is the worst thing that they've ever seen you do. They can't believe that you are acting like this and being this way. It's really, really hard on the high achieving daughter, because we are human and we have emotions, and you want to be able to lay that all out. But unfortunately, the people who raised you, especially your mother who raised you, she doesn't see you as someone who is worthy of being heard and worthy of being cared for in that way. She just sees you as almost like a machine who is supposed to keep going no matter how hard life gets. So while she may be praised for her ability to get things done, to have multiple businesses and have multiple degrees, like I said earlier, she may be very abundant materially. The high achieving daughter rarely ever, I never really met a high achieving daughter who is bad with finances, who is bad with just, making poor decisions, because they're always thinking a few steps ahead, because like I said, they're always in productive mode. So once they develop the mindset of what's next, they're always thinking 2 to 3 to 10 steps ahead. So I've never really met a high achieving daughter who is bad when it comes to the finances and things like that. So with that being said, they may be very abundant materially. They may have all of their bills paid up. They may even have bills paid up a few months in advance. They may even, be investing, have, high yield savings accounts and Roth IRAs and things like that. But while they are abundant in that way, they are starving emotionally. Right? Because in their mind, they're only loved when they're performing, when they're fixing things, when they're achieving things. Basically, when they're taking care of everything and everyone else. So in her mind, in order to be loved, she has to be performing, and she can't slack whatsoever. But while she's performing to achieve these things and attract all of this abundance, nobody is pouring into her whatsoever. And she damn sure is not pouring into herself, because she's always on go. So think of her like in friendships. In friendships, she 9 times out of 10, she's a therapist friend, or she's like the big sister who has all the answers, has all the advice. Even if she isn't the oldest friend in the group, the friends still look at her to think, like, what would you do in this situation? Or what should I do? Or can you give me some advice? So she's solving everyone else's problems, but she's never asking for help with her own issues. She shows up for everyone, but she is silently harboring resentment with everyone, because there's a lack of support and there is a huge lack of reciprocity. She's pouring. She's not getting anything back. She's giving all of her energy. Nobody is returning it back to her. And the thing about the high achieving daughter is, if she stays in this mode of pouring into people, and eventually when you pour, your cup becomes empty. And when you look up and nobody else is pouring into you, you crash out. You crash out because you start to think nobody like cares about me. Nobody's showing up for me. Nobody really loves me. People just love what I can do for them. They just love what I have, but they don't love me. You know what I mean? And that really causes her to, she can go into a deep depression. She can really have moments where she sits at home and she's having a glass of wine, or she's, watching her favorite TV show. But before she knows it, she's in tears because she looks up and she realizes she hasn't really been properly loved and genuinely loved by anybody outside of her performing and being the caretaker. So, and she is the same way within the family. Even if now with her mother, she can be seen as the golden child if she is that high achieving, or like if she is so good at what she does. But she can also have, let me say this. She can be seen as a golden child, but also, although she is seen as like the daughter who has got it all together, her relationship with her mother is just that. It's just accomplishments and achievements. It's nothing more. It's almost surface level. It's almost like she may never really know her mother at her core, and her mother may never ever know her, and she may never even take the time out to get to know her daughter, which is very sad to say. A lot of the times these daughters are often the oldest daughters or the only daughter. If she has brothers, she may be the only girl. If it's all sisters, she may be the eldest daughter. That's just what I noticed. The biggest pattern that I noticed is the high achieving daughter is always the oldest or the only girl. God forbid if she's the oldest daughter, the first granddaughter, and the first niece. Oh my God, then it's even more pressure on her because people got to see her. They witnessed her being born first. They witnessed her first steps and everything. And it's more of a memory for them versus the other children. Not to diss the other children, but those accomplishments and those milestones are far more memorable. So it's even more pressure on the high achieving daughter to keep achieving because they remember all of these things about her. They just almost place her on a pedestal, like she can do no wrong, and she's never to mess up, which is why when she does mess up, it is like extra read out about it type of thing. So like I said earlier, along with her almost having to raise her siblings, she might end up becoming like a second mom, whether she's aware of it or not, whether she wants to or not. She may have heard from her parents, you need to talk to your brother, you need to talk to your sister, because the parents just have decided they want to clock out. They want to leave all of the responsibility to her because they know that she will do it and she will get it done. Of course, with her having all of this pressure on her and all of these expectations on her, she feels the need to hold it all together because she can't. Not only can she not let other people like her friends or strangers, co-workers, whoever, see her, fall apart or see her fail. She absolutely cannot let her family see her fail, because if they do, then she's no longer who they thought she was. Because not only have they placed her on the pedestal, but she's placed herself there too. She doesn't really know how to see herself as a human because she was never seen as one to begin with. Let's just, be honest about it. And so along with that, while she may be very sensitive to criticism, she probably is the hardest on herself. She's probably worse on herself than her mother ever was because of her mother's voice, because of her mother's, very firm hand. So while she's being hard on herself naturally, when she receives any type of criticism from any outside people, it feels like dogpiling. It feels like she's getting buried underneath criticism and insults and, just advice that she's not really asking for. So one thing I can say about the high achieving daughter in the workplace, she gets things done. She probably has a lot of different promotions, or she probably is a manager of some sort, some type of like leadership role, because she is that dependable. She makes sure her T's are crossed, her I's are dotted. She sometimes will overwork herself. She may do her job plus other people's jobs, because she may have a habit of tying her self-worth to her production. So if she's not producing above and beyond, then she doesn't feel worthy of the paycheck. She doesn't feel worthy of the accolades. She doesn't feel worthy of the hand claps. So she may aim very, very high. And while other people are just coming to work like, hey, I'm just going to do my job, I just want my paycheck to go home, she's like, no, I'm going to do my job. I'm going to go above and beyond, because I want my name in different rooms. I want my names on emails. I want the recognition. I want all of these things. And this is no shade to anybody, but she's very like Virgo coded. If you are a Virgo, let me know down in the comments below. As a person who has Virgo placements, this is very much me. This is very much them. But anyways, it's neither here nor there. And so when it comes to romantic relationships, she may subconsciously subtract partners who need fixing, because she herself is a fixer. So while she may have it all together, and she may not even have financial struggles or addictions and things like that, she may attract men who do. She may attract men who have addictions or who come from a very heavy addicted family. She may attract men who are broke and can't keep money and may have a habit of gambling and things like that. And she may attract emotionally unavailable men, because keep in mind, she's very big on achieving things. So if she gets to turn this man who is emotionally unavailable to being available for her, then she feels like she has achieved like the biggest thing, one of the most impossible things in the world. So she may end up being the caretaker for her man or in her relationship, simply because she's not used to receiving things. So when he asks questions like, oh babe, do you need anything, or can I buy this for you, she may tell him no. She may play things down. Even if she is in need of something, she may let him believe that she needs absolutely nothing, because she does not know what it feels like to receive, because she's never really received a day in her life. The way that she's able to heal herself is to simply be softer with herself. The high achieving daughter she has to learn how to take away that firm hand and release the need to be so hard and so overly ambitious and high producing. She has to almost force herself to move slower, speak slower, be softer with herself, because she had such a hard childhood. So the high achieving daughter, she heals her wounds by allowing herself to take some days off of work, allowing herself to be okay with just doing the bare minimum sometimes, even if, as long as it gets the job done, not being obsessed with perfection, and also teaching herself that perfection does not exist, because by her constantly chasing perfection, she constantly puts herself in a constant state of stress, because perfection is not real. So she's chasing something that ultimately does not exist. So a lot of self-love, a lot of spending time with herself, doing what she wants to do, a lot of like doing things of leisure, not expecting anything out of it, taking work off of the table and simply just finding things that she enjoys doing just for the sake of enjoying them will be very healing for her. She needs to learn how to enjoy life and live life, and to find happiness and contentment in the things that she is doing. That is it, and that is all. So with that being said, if you guys do resonate with this archetype, please comment down below, and let's get to the next archetype. So the next archetype is the self-dimming daughter. The self-dimming daughter, 9 times out of 10, had a very, very jealous mother, an extremely envious mother. Okay. These daughters may have been a product of mothers who were extremely jealous of women, and these mothers let it be known, right? So they probably had mothers who would go out in public and see other women who were obviously, they would see other women who are obviously taking care of themselves. Their hair is nice, their makeup is done, they're dressing very nice. And the mother is constantly making comments about them, like very nasty insults, just very negative comments about these women. But she made them especially about her daughter. Okay? This jealousy could have caused her mother to simply just pick her apart for fun, right? So sometimes these mothers may wait until there's a family function to put her daughter on the spot for certain things. Let's just say her daughter wanted to wear lip gloss for the first time, or she wanted to wear her little princess heels or something like that. She may make that a moment and try to get other people to join in on the laughter and the embarrassment of her daughter, simply because her daughter is exploring and finding her own confidence in herself. The mother is extremely insecure, extremely ashamed of herself. Not the daughter, extremely ashamed of herself. And maybe even embarrassed of herself. And so because she feels those things, she projects them onto her daughter, which produces the self-dimming daughter. Okay. Her mother may have been simply upset at the fact that she gave birth to a daughter that could potentially become everything that she wanted to be. And this causes her to attack her daughter at any given moment. God forbid this daughter is a naturally beautiful girl, naturally pretty, naturally talented, just naturally intelligent. This mother never ever misses the opportunity to try to dim her light or bring her down. So with that being said, this mother subconsciously taught this daughter that visibility is scary and it can come with a lot of risks. So with that being said, the self-dimming daughter learned to simply find a way to blend into the background and make herself invisible because she does not want any attention on herself. So the self-dimming daughter, she wants to make herself easier to digest. She wants to be sure that she isn't making anyone else uncomfortable. So she will dim her light, downplay her own talents, downplay her own achievements so that no one will feel a way about her. She believes that her having these natural talents and her, being as beautiful as she is, etc., is a bad thing. And that attracts bad things to her, negative things to her, especially if not only she has a mother who is doing this in the home, but if she also goes to school and she is a victim of like bullying, or she's a victim of simply just girls being jealous of her. That's simply all that is. She is learning to downplay everything that is good about her so other people will like her and other people will not try to make her the enemy, right? So the self-dimming daughter, not only does she dim who she naturally is, she brings forth who other people want her to be so that she is easier to be accepted, so that she is easily accepted. So she may not be as outspoken as like the mean girl, or she may not be as quick to attach herself like the clingy one. She can have clingy tendencies, clearly Cassie and Nate Jacobs. But she just simply wants to do whatever she can to keep herself safe. She wants to do whatever she can to keep a negative spotlight off of her. But, well, in this sense, to keep any spotlight off of her. So if anything is bothering her, she will bite her tongue. Even if she has a strong opinion, even if she really feels a way, she's not going to say anything. If she is a very smart girl, she's going to dumb herself down so other people in the room can feel smart. She doesn't want to be seen as the smartest person in the room. She doesn't want to be seen as like the loud person in the room or the outspoken person in the room. She'll try and hide her beauty so that she won't upstage any other girl or any other woman in the room. Because, like I said, she doesn't want to make any enemies. She won't take the lead or put herself in any position to be upfront, even if she has good views or she has good advice that may end up pushing her towards like a leadership position or up front. She's going to bite her tongue, and she'd rather see other people, fail, or not necessarily fail, but she'd rather see other people figure it out than to put herself out there, because she knows, or she believes, that is what causes her to have so many enemies, and that's what causes her to be disliked. In her mind, as long as she pretends to not be as good or as qualified as she is, she's not going to cause any problems, and she'll be able to make more friends, and she'll be able to, basically keep herself safe. The self-dimming daughter, she never stops to ask herself, who am I truly at my core? Who do I believe myself to be? What is it that I naturally like? What is it that I naturally want to do? Instead, she asks, who do I need to be so that I can be chosen? And she naturally adapts to whatever environment she is in at the moment. These women are often seen as fake or two-faced, simply because they're doing what they can to survive in the moment. So while she may be, very funny and very lively with one group of people, when she goes, around family, or when she goes around her coworkers, she may be totally different. And it's not because she is two-faced or because she is fake. She's simply just being adaptable. Which isn't a bad thing, but she is being adaptable at an expense of her true identity, because she believes it is harmful to her. So in her friendships, she's the one who pretty much agrees with whatever is being said to keep the peace. So she may end up being friends with girls who have very dominant personalities. She may even end up being friends with like a mean girl. She may be the mean girl's right-hand man. She may be the girl who states her opinion, but the moment her friend, gives her a look, or her friend has a different opinion, she may change it simply so that she can go along with everything else. Her friends probably see her as easygoing, or she may be like the friend group favorite, or the one that everybody can depend on, not because she's dependable and not because she's actually likable naturally. It's because she doesn't really push back. She doesn't really, give anybody a hard time. She's naturally just a pushover, and she doesn't speak up for herself. So that's an easygoing person for someone who is, a mean girl, or just has a very dominant personality and doesn't really care to have that type of depth in a friendship. This girl, she is the one who she allows other people to interrupt her, to overtalk her, to basically treat her like as if she's dumb or if she is incompetent. Whole time she's the total opposite, but she's just afraid to show it. And so like I said, in romantic relationships, she becomes whoever her partner wants her to be and whatever her partner likes. So let's just say she starts dating a guy and he loves baseball, and she's never even watched baseball a day in her life. She may suddenly become interested in it so that she can force herself to be more likable to this man. If she gets with a guy who hates holidays or doesn't believe in holidays, she may choose to avoid celebrating them, even if she absolutely loves Halloween, if she loves Valentine's Day and Christmas, etc. She may decide, okay, well, I'm not going to celebrate these things because he doesn't celebrate them, and I want to be his girlfriend. That's why I chose to use Cassie as the face of this, because we see this with her relationship with Nate. We see her basically almost try to become Maddie in a way so that Nate can like her a bit more. But if you notice, everybody has a breaking point. Everybody has a limit. And she claimed to be, I'm crazy and I'm over the top. I can be, that girl. But when Maddie asked her, when Maddie basically pressed her, she didn't want nothing to do with that. So she'll never come out and just tell them what she dislikes or what she does like. She's going to just make herself uncomfortable, because she simply just wants to be liked and she wants to be in this relationship. So these girls can oftentimes end up in very she can end up with a person who is very domineering, who is very controlling, because she's very easy to control. And so sometimes these relationships, of course, can take a turn, because if you end up with a guy who is like Nate Jacob, it can absolutely take a turn. But she just wants to be chosen in the safest way possible, because her mom never ever made her feel safe about who she was at her core. And so with her having the jealous, insecure mom that she has, she learned that, if she shines, she causes problems. If she's too good, then, she makes enemies. So she rather shine the light on other people to avoid, upsetting people. And I don't think anything's wrong with, being able to root for other people and clap other people on, but I think it's very important to be your own cheerleader, and she struggles with this. She struggles really, really bad with this, to be her own cheerleader, because she thinks she doesn't deserve it, and she thinks that this is just not something that's for her. So she avoids it at all costs. She's not one to set boundaries. She's not one to stand up for herself, because she doesn't believe in, she thinks any type of boundary or anything to protect herself is going to equal rejection. And she doesn't be rejected. She doesn't want, I'm sorry. And she doesn't want to be rejected, nor does she want to reject anybody else. When you are a girl coming up in the world, you start to like naturally girly things, and you start to want to experiment. You want to color your hair, you want to try out different makeup, you want to try out different styles of dress. So imagine being a girl who is trying to experiment and find her way, and you have a mother who is basically stunting that growth every way, every chance that she can get. Every outfit you try, she tells you probably look like a whore. Excuse my language. I'm trying not to curse as much as I was in the past video, but she may tell you that you look slutty, or that you look terrible, or that you look bad. She may tell you that your makeup is terrible. You shouldn't do that hair. Whatever she can to basically get rid of your confidence, she's going to do that. The tough part about this is essentially the self-demon daughter, she gets what she wants, right? And that is to be accepted and to be chosen and to have people around her. But the cost is so great. She ends up, being accepted and being chosen at the cost of herself, at the cost of being her authentic self. Is always in exchange for who she is at her core. So sometimes, sometimes she may have a moment, especially when, because everybody has a moment in their life when they want healing, or when things start to rise to the surface and they become more aware of their patterns. But once she has that moment where she sits down and she's by herself, she starts to ask the question, does anybody actually know the real me? And then she has to ask herself the question, do I even know who I am? Because she's been wearing masks most of her life. She's been, playing pretend. She's been showing up as who everybody else wanted her to be instead of being herself. And people don't understand that by faking many different personalities for years, sometimes decades, you get to a point to where you have no idea who you are, because you've basically been playing a role for so long. And so while she may be very good at adapting and she may be very considerate, she needs time to sit down and really practice radical self-acceptance. She needs time to teach herself how to refuse change, change of who she is at her core, regardless of whether people like it or not. She needs to learn how to get into the habit of disappointing people. She needs to get into the habit of letting people down. And the first person she needs to start with is her mother. Because this daughter, when you have a very jealous, insecure mother, she probably instilled a lot of fear within her. And so the biggest way for her to feel or get this very huge self-acceptance is to let her mother down first, and to be okay with her mother, not accepting what she looks like or what she's deciding to do, etc. Learning to be okay with people walking away, not agreeing with, her lifestyle, her choice of dress, her choice of work, and things like that. And no longer wanting to be friends with people who simply just push, just are see her as a pushover and run over her. She needs to be okay with losing friends. She needs to be okay with losing family members. She needs to be okay with losing romantic partners. And I think also too, a lot of exposure therapy will be very good for her because, like I said, she is the self dimmer. So she's dimming herself. So by doing things like exposure therapy, she's learning how to put herself out there, and she is not practicing, what's the word I'm looking for? With exposure therapy, she's learning how to put herself out there while taking note of the things that happen, right? She didn't die, the world didn't end. Even if people are upset with her, she still is going to go to sleep at the end of the day. Like, it's not going to be the end of the world. So radical self-acceptance and exposure therapy will absolutely help the self-dimming daughter a great bit. So, yes, that is it for the self-dimming daughter. Let me know if you guys resonate with her down below. I definitely know many, many girls like this. And it's really sad to see because they want so badly to be accepted, but they don't know that they must accept themselves first before they can be accepted by anybody else. And they also don't know that once they accept themselves 100%, they no longer really need anybody else's acceptance because they have all the acceptance that they need. So, yes, let me know if you guys resonate with this archetype down below. And we will get into the last archetype that I will be covering in this video. We are at the last archetype for this series, and that is the detached daughter. The detached daughter had a mother that was not comforting or safe to confide in. Maybe when she needed a listening ear or simply just a hug, she either could not get this from her, or it may have been used against her, or even worse, she may have had one of those mothers who decided to call a friend or call a family member and tell all of her daughter's business. So when I say safe, not safe to confide in, of course, when you're a kid and different things happen, you want a confidant. Like, you want to be able to go to your mother and say, hey, mom, my cycle started for the first time, or hey, mom, this guy broke my heart for the first time, or, just the different things that happen, as a girl growing up. You want to be able to confide in your mother with that because she's been a girl before, and you're hoping that you guys can relate and she can give you some advice. But instead of the mother giving advice, she took it and she used it to either shame her or to use it as a gossip, to play telephone. So her mother could have also been very harsh or very cold. Almost as if, like, let's just say the daughter experienced a heartbreak. Instead of her mother, comforting her and letting her know, hey, I know I'm sad that this happened to you, but boys will be boys, or, this happens, you're going to be okay. She may have blamed her, like, oh, well, that's too bad. Like, you shouldn't have liked him anyway. What makes you think a guy like that would have taken you serious? Like, she may have just been very, very harsh or completely just emotionless herself. The mother may have not been affectionate at all, nurturing, not even in the slightest. This daughter may not have ever gotten a hug from her mother, or she maybe can count on one hand how many times her mother told her that she loved her. And so she learned from her mother, if I reach for comfort, then I'll get hurt. So eventually she stops reaching for comfort altogether. Now, the detached daughter is very similar to the overachieving daughter, in the sense that they are very hyper independent and they like to handle things themselves. But whereas the high achieving daughter doesn't want to ask for help because she doesn't want to seem like a burden, or she doesn't want to be seen as somebody who can't handle it. The detached daughter doesn't ask for help because she doesn't want to be let down, because she believes that depending on anybody is going to be is going to lead to heartbreak or disappointment. So she doesn't expect anything from anybody because she believes she will be hurt by everybody. So the hyper independent daughter, the detached daughter, she doesn't need anybody. She doesn't want anything from anybody. She doesn't want help from anybody. She doesn't really care to have connections or relationships. You will never catch her being emotional or being vulnerable, almost ever. Or even if she does have a slip up, it's a quick wipe of the face and she moves on like nothing happened. Because she doesn't feel safe in her emotions, because like I said, with her mother, she learned very early on that being emotional is just not the way to go. So she's taught herself to be as completely as detached from her emotions as she can. So the thing about the detached daughter is she may have friends. She may have, maybe associates, but they may not know her very well. They may not have like ever learned things that really like make her sad or really put a smile on her face. Like they may know surface level things, a favorite color, food she may like to eat, things like that. But even if she has like a very close friend, they may not know her as deep as they feel like they could. Because she keeps people at an arm's length. Like she has walls built up and she just refuses to let people in because she simply does not want to be let down ever again. So she is the friend who may go missing like when she's struggling, so you may not hear from her for weeks at a time or months at a time. And it's not because it's personal or that she hates you or she doesn't like you. It's because she's doing what she does best, and she's coping by figuring it out all on her own and not asking for help. Even if she's struggling the worst way she's ever struggled, she doesn't want to talk to anybody. She doesn't want to hear from anybody because she doesn't want to risk potentially breaking down or admitting that she needs help from someone, because she just does not want to open up that can of worms. So she believes if you have no expectations of anybody, then you can't be disappointed. So she expects nothing from anyone because she does not want to be let down ever again. So this friend may be a very great listener. Like she may be very present for her friends. She may be very, very good at letting her friends vent, letting her friends release, but you may never hear her vent or share her deepest secrets or her greatest fears. She's not going to do that. So like I said, a lot of her friendships, a lot of her relationships may be very surface level. Very rarely will you ever see her in relationships that have like depth. So when it comes to romance, she may choose to opt out of dating altogether, because we know that romantic relationships or any relationship, they come with a certain level, they require some level of vulnerability, and she avoids being vulnerable, period. She's not with it at all. And so I want to make this very clear. It's not that, how can I say this? She avoids being vulnerable, but she avoids being vulnerable with other people. She herself, she may cry in the comfort of her own room. Even if she lives with her family, they might not ever see her cry, but she may go into her room or into the bathroom and weep silently. She might cover her mouth so no one will hear her cry or hear her sobs. But when it comes to being vulnerable with other people, she's just not for it. So she, when I say very avoidant, like extremely avoidant altogether. Even if she does date somebody, even if she does decide to, try out dating or getting into a relationship, once it gets too serious or once it starts to deepen, she might disappear because she just has a fear of letting somebody in. So she'd rather just be independent and stay to herself over having a connection. So this is not the girl. Listen, I spoke about the other archetypes having the potential to be a pick-me. She's far from it. She doesn't want to be picked by anybody, man or woman. She will pick herself, and that is enough for her for at the end of the day. Very like Capricorn coded. No shade to the Capricorns. No shade to the Capricorns. But She wants her own things. She wants her own place. She wants her own car. She wants everything to belong to her. That way nobody can ever take it from her or throw it up in her face. She may have had a mother who may have gifted her things just, on a whim, and then when something happens, might have just taken it away from her. Or the moment, she needs something or she needed something, her mom threw back in her face, all the things that she done for her. She may have used terms like, oh, I fed you, I put, food on the table, I put clothes in your back. What else was I supposed to do? Like just using very bare minimum things to throw back in her face to try to make her feel guilty. And the detached daughter doesn't want to feel guilty. She doesn't want to feel anything of the sort. So she has decided that everything that she has, she will get it on her own. She does not want any handouts. She does not want anybody feeling sorry for her or pitying her. She will get it all out the mud if she has to. So the thing about the detached daughter, if we haven't caught on to it already, is she has simply just been let down way too many times, especially by her mother, but also, of course, it may be by other people too. So much so that she just doesn't want to try with anybody. But the truth of the matter is we're human and we all need people, even if, it's not too, even if you don't have five or six friends, or you don't have a super deep romantic relationship. We all need connection. We're human. And this is something she really doesn't want to admit, that she needs people, because she may secretly yearn for connection. She may yearn for deeper friendship, and she may yearn for romantic relationship. But the moment the yearn goes too far, her mind automatically goes to, but hey, they may hurt you. They may let you down. They may break your heart. They may betray you. They may betray your trust. You don't want to do that. So let's not even try. And so the detached daughter has a lot of work to do, because her wound is around trust and betrayal. Of course, her wound is at the bottom of the screen. But she believes, if she doesn't need anybody, she won't get hurt. So she doesn't want to trust anybody. She doesn't want to ever trust anybody. And this can lead to self-isolation. This can lead to her, just moving all alone by herself, never connecting with people, never speaking to people. And I don't want to say that she can become very mean or very hostile, but she just may become extremely isolated, so much so that let's just say when things do happen and an emergency happens, who is she going to call on? Because she has isolated herself so much so she doesn't, this daughter can become so detached to the point to where she cuts off every single person in her family. When I say everybody, I mean even her siblings. Even if her siblings haven't let her down, she doesn't want to give them the opportunity to do so. So she distances herself from them and both parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, everybody, because she does not want to be let down. But God forbid something bad happens and she does, need that emergency contact. Who is she going to call? Let's say she's not able to work and she's not able to make money. Who is she going to depend on? Everybody needs somebody. And so with the detached daughter, she heals by learning to be okay with being vulnerable, but being very, very careful with who she chooses to be vulnerable with. And the only way she is able to decide who gets to see her vulnerable side is by paying attention to people's actions and their patterns, and not assuming that everybody is going to let her down because she has been let down in the past. She has to know that there are people in her life who will come into her life or who are already in her life that will be there for her. I hate when I do this. That will be there for her, and who will go above and beyond for her and not want anything in return, not necessarily have like this transactional relationship with her. She needs to know that she needs to learn how to trust. And she learns how to trust other people by learning how to trust herself first. Because deep down, she does have a fear of being let down, but she has a fear of not being able to bounce back when she is hurt, when she is, let down, or when she is experiencing heartbreak. Because the truth of the matter is, we all get let down at some point. We all get heartbroken at some point. We all reach that point in our lives where, people are just people. But she learns how to trust other people by trusting herself first. Trusting that she can bounce back from heartbreak, bounce back from betrayal, bounce back from a friend, turning their backs on her, or, spilling a secret or something like that, to not allow her hyper independence to cause her to have like that little house on the hill that's away from everybody else's houses. I don't know if y'all seen the movie Angry Birds. I'm sorry, I'm always like making references to movies and TV shows. But in the first Angry Birds movie, Red is literally in a house all by himself, away from the town. And then when something does happen, nobody takes him seriously. Nobody believes him. Nobody wants to hear him because he has isolated himself. Because he just refuses to open up to people. He refuses to be, to let anybody in. And this is what can potentially happen with the detached daughter. Now, like I said, these archetypes may have a lot of similarities within each other, but I don't want you guys to get the high achieving daughter and the detached daughter confused, because while the overachieving daughter performs to be loved, the detached daughter performs so that she doesn't need anybody, to keep her independence intact. Two totally different reasons for their performance, but they're both very, very good at keeping it together and taking care of themselves. Yeah, so she heals by learning to be okay with being vulnerable with people and learning to trust other people, but by first learning to trust herself. And in doing that, she has to make friends. She has to make connections. She has to be okay with it. If she's open to dating, she has to be okay with dating and trying different things out. She has to put herself out there in order to believe that, hey, even though these things are happening, I can still stand on my own 2 feet and I can keep it moving. That is it for the detached daughter, and that is it for the Mother Wound Archetype series. Hopefully this video isn't too long. I did not want it to be too long. But please let me know if you guys resonate with any of the archetypes down below. And I really, really enjoy making these videos. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video.